What's going on, friends, thrends, and thramly? It is currently unseasonably warm here in the United States of Siege, and I wish there was more good news to report, right? Minnesota is still under siege. The files have still not been released, and justice has not been served, right? There are still bombs exploding in Iran and Israel. The Middle East is just a hotbed of conflict. And oil prices are yo-yoing because no one knows what the fuck is going on. So unfortunately, there aren't any major updates, right? But it is an opportunity to discuss something that I think is kind of timely, right? Because one of the battle cries, one of the rallying cheers as of late has been, dismantle the patriarchy, which, don't get me wrong, I'm all for. But there's also been discussion saying what we need is a matriarchy. Not necessarily, because one thing we've learned from the files alone, and those complicit in keeping those files concealed, buried, just kind of hidden from view, right, is that women can be just as evil as the dudes. Sorry, it's a fact. Now, while history has shown most, empires and regimes and all that have been male-dominated, it doesn't necessarily mean that one dominated by women is going to be any better, because more importantly, they show there's a certain type of psychology, well, it's more of a sociopathy, that goes along with people who really, really seek out leadership. So it doesn't necessarily mean that by rooting out a gender, we're rooting out evil. It's a fact. And we have to look at that, because that means there is no easy answer to what follows all of this madness. And honestly, I don't think we need an easy answer. We'd like one. We'd love a quick fix. I would love for there to be a Band-Aid, a reset button to fix it all. But the fact of the matter is, there is evil shit that can happen all around us. No one gender is necessarily inherently better than another. We just had one gender that was more physically dominant, unfortunately, and utilized that to evil ends. However, what we do need to agree upon is that we need to get rid of the pedagogy. And in this case, the pedopatriarchy. I guess we're now just inventing terms because we're coming up with combinations that we never thought we would ever need, right? But it's where the fuck we are. And it's scary. However, if we take the time and decide to actually be thoughtful citizens, and when I say be thoughtful, that means fuck a party line. It means we don't just blindly vote Democrat or Republican, but we actually take the time to do our homework, because clearly blind trust in our representative government hasn't served us as well as we'd like it to. I mean, don't get me wrong. It'd be great to have the DoorDash of fucking civilization, in the sense that we push a button, we click a thing, and that automatically means that we're going to get exactly what we want. But if anyone has ever used Instacart, for example, that's not the case. I'm speaking as a chef, right? On one hand, as a consumer, Instacart is amazing for my convenience, and it frees up my time to do other things. However, as someone who also knows that I like to know the quality of what I'm getting, so it's worth it for me to take the time and pick out the finest produce, the best looking cut of meat, what have you, because at the end of the day, I know that picking out my quality ingredients is going to lead to a better result at the end. It's going to lead to a more satisfying meal, one that's healthier and more sustainable than a quick fix. We don't need fast food democracy, right? We need that slow cook shit, the shit that takes time, care, concern, compassion, kindness, empathy. These are the ingredients to a civilization that doesn't look like the clusterfuck we're currently residing in. Because I'm tired of waking up every fucking morning screaming what the fuck into the void. And I'm willing to bet y'all are too. So maybe it's time for us to start having some hard conversations, because Cheeto Pennywise is rapidly deteriorating. And we need to start figuring out what needs to come next, because we know more of the same is just a recipe for disaster. That being said, your rage is absolutely justified, and now is as good a time as any to rise the fuck